May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? Will the real Slim Shady please listen to Cosmere Chronicles, the podcast we follow two first-time readers, Sheta and Justin, and we chronicle their journey through Brand Sanderson's Cosmere series. On today's episode, we'll be chronicling the Stormlight Archive, The Way of Kings, chapters 63 through 66. So now, let's throw it over to the host of Cosmere Chronicles. This is Joe! Thank you, Joe. Welcome, everyone. This is Cosmere Chronicles. Like you just heard, my name's Joe. And I'm joined by people whose names are Justin and Sheta.
You have to guess who's who, though.
I guess that you're Sheta.
Correct.
Sweet.
All right. Yep. That's who we all are. And, yeah. We'll have our random question, which, I did not really think of.
I got one.
Okay.
What's your favorite Disney ride?
I'm not answering that. I don't have an answer.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
My favorite Disney ride is I've never been to Disney World or Disneyland.
Yeah. That's too niche of a question, Sheta. Sorry.
We need to do a Cosmere Chronicles at Disneyland episode.
Oh, God. If the Cosmere Chronicles stuff, instead of being at Apple, gets adapted by Disney Plus, I may have to quit the podcast.
All right, Sheta, we'll do that, but you have to pay for it all. Got real quiet there, didn't you?
I don't think it's worth it for one podcast episode.
Especially a non-Disney one.
Yeah, it's not that related, so.
All right, people that are listening, you need to send us in questions. We are running very low. If you have random shit you want us to know, send them in. Email them, throw them in a comment. Just please do that.
That would be fun. Yes. Let us know what secrets you would like to know, and we'll answer them, no matter what.
All right, the no matter what's not going to be true, but how about, here we go. What is your favorite Robert Rodriguez film?
Well, the answer let me double check before I answer.
Well, I'm just going to go with Spy Kids because I thought that was really fun as a kid, and I watched it so many times. And yeah, that will go with that.
Spy Kids 1 specifically, or the series?
Spy Kids 1 specifically, then, since it's a movie, not a franchise question.
Let's see. Yeah, I have to go with Sin City. I think it's one of the best comic adaptations, and the black and white looks very cool. The casting's awesome. The soundtrack fits the comic style a lot, so that will be my pick. Not that god-awful sequel, but the first Sin City for sure.
1 second, my earbud disconnected. Did Justin say his answer?
Yes.
Okay, that's why I noticed. All of a sudden the thing was green and I wasn't hearing anything, so I had to check my earbud. But I guess I'll give my answer without knowing what his was. I'll find out his when I edit the episode. I'll just say Sin City.
Why is that?
I just thought that was good. Pretty good the first Sin City. Pretty good adaptation of the comics and stuff. Fun way where also you like split up the stuff instead of just always having it like just one story all the way through. Like the that Yellow Bastard was split to like beginning and end of the movie, throwing in some of the shorts in it, and I thought it was a pretty fun movie. Especially the way that it was done with the black and white, having some color in there and all that. It just looked really cool.
Yeah.
And that all sounds very familiar. Some parts of that.
So Justin said also Sin City, I'm assuming.
It's a tough choice, but that's the one I'd go with, yeah.
And then I was like, also looking at his films, it's like, some of these I do not remember. Like the movie Shorts. Like a family film from 2009. But also, I'll have to put a honorable mention will be The Faculty.
Honorable mention for me will be Planet Terror. Rita?
Me?
Machete Kills Again in Space.
Yeah.
That was never made.
I'm still waiting on it.
It will never happen.
No. Well, it could if Robert Rodriguez just decides, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to waste a bunch of my own money to do it.
Yes.
I guess I'll go with Planet Terror as well for my honorable mention.
All right, so that's all the Robert Rodriguez stuff. So let's leave that and go to the similar vein of Robert Rodriguez with Brandon Sanderson. And yeah, so first we'll do a recap of last week's chapters with Justin.
I believe Kaladin did his crazy run around in armor and dodge arrows routine with the Benny Hill music playing. Practice with Stormlight, got better with it. And Dalinar proved his visions were real. Was that last time or the time before?
Yes.
And then
Yep.
he totally made out with, got to second base according to Sheta, but absolutely did not with his brother's wife. I believe those were all the major things.
Sheta, what do you think getting to second base means?
I won't say since we have a lot of young listeners. So
No,
I don't think this is true.
We know Nick listens, so that's enough. We know he's an innocent soul.
Yes.
All right. Yep. So that was last week, and yeah, that pretty much hit all the major points. So this week we read 4 more chapters, chapters 63 through 66. So, and as typical, I'll ask you two, what did you think about these chapters this week?
I am very anxious, and I can't believe we're going to take a break before the next time we do another session.
Yeah, I didn't like leaving off where we left off. That was pretty crazy. When I'm like, I can see that the chapter is ending on the next page. How is this going to wrap up in half a page?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, I guess I could tell everyone listening I know we just had a 1 week break a couple weeks ago. Unfortunately, we have to take another 1 week break next week because we have stuff going on next weekend and we're not going to be able to record. And once I saw we were going to have this break, I looked forward, be like, all right, what's going on that week? Oh shit, sucks to be Justin Sheta. And so Sheta, are you still on the pro Sadeas train?
Well, we don't know what his intentions are. So
I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to
that.
hear none of that. I don't even want to hear the joke of that. Not till we know what's happened fully.
Well, I have some theories about what he might be trying to do.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'll tell you what he's trying to do. It's not very complex.
I guess we did hear a little bit from him as he was walking away. So
Well, he could have just said that to fool any spies listening.
he knew Kaladin was listening, and he was trying to tell him.
Oh my god.
By being like, yep, that's what happens when you're a good guy. And
oh my god. Stop it.
You're
fired.
I don't know. That was kind of part of my theory before for Sadeas.
What, that he was evil?
No, that he's part of God's plans for everybody. Trying to put everyone in the right position to do what they need to do to bring everyone together through hardships and stuff.
So what part of killing 8,000 men, including Dalinar, is just considered a hardship?
They're not dead yet. He's enticing others to become more heroic and stuff.
I don't even want to hear it. I don't even want to hear your nonsense.
It takes pressure to make a diamond.
I am gonna lose my iconic cool if you keep doing this.
Okay, let's go on then.
I think she's at the sunk cost fallacy. She was defending him so long, she's gotten to the point where she has to defend him. Otherwise, she'll look silly for always having defended him before.
Don't be a German at the end of World War II, Sheta.
Whoa.
You don't want to be the guy still waving the flag when it's all over.
So, let's go and actually get into these chapters then. Starting off with chapter 63, Fear. Epigraph. I wish to sleep. I know now why you do what you do, and I hate you for it. I will not speak of the truths I see. Subject: a Shin sailor left behind by his crew, reportedly for bringing them ill luck. Sample largely useless.
So that one was really interesting because I've been wondering if they've been gleaning these supernaturally or if they've just been going up to people and listening to them. And this confirms it's either the latter or it's something that they. Yeah, I think it confirms it's the latter.
But they listen?
Well, yeah, because he says, "I know what you're seeking. I will speak not of what I hear, or what I see." Meaning that it's somebody who knows that they're being observed, and somebody is listening for their last words, and that's also why they say it's a useless sample.
Mm. I didn't get that at all. So
How did you read it?
I just thought they were like, we don't take what Shin say seriously.
What?
All right. So it's a Kaladin chapter, and we begin, and we have Leighton, and he's attaching the carapace armor to the jerkin in a much better way than what Kaladin had haphazardly done before. And Kaladin, he asked Leighton to, besides this one, also make one for each member of the crew, not just the people that will be running up front, but for all, members that are running the bridge, except for Shen. They're not going to make one for Shen.
See? They hate Shin. Or they hate
Yeah, that's
Parshendi.
it.
Oh, I called him a Shin.
I thought that's his name.
No, from the quote. I'm sorry.
You're confusing me, Sheta.
Yeah, I confuse myself.
Oh, okay.
And Matal, he has agreed to allow them to leave Shen behind on the bridge runs because he's going to be pretty much useless with those now. And Shen, he won't even look at Kaladin anymore. And so there have been 5 bridge runs since the one where Kaladin first wore that armor running around. And he's been having some other members of the crew join him in running out front. And yeah, in all 5 of those runs, Bridge 4 has had no casualties. And Leighton, he's working on his armor, and Kaladin asks him how an apprentice armorer wound up being in a bridge crew. Leighton tells him that, that one time a piece of armor broke that a Light Eyes was wearing, and the Light Eyes took an arrow in the shoulder. So they need to blame someone, and Leighton's master wound up pinning the blame on Leighton. So then Leighton was sent to a bridge crew.
That's smart. That having an extra apprentice around just to take the blame if some Bright Eyes wants to blame you for their own blunder.
That's evil. He's
It
enslaved,
sure is.
basically. That's really evil. Especially
But
for like a young person who's looking to you to mentor them and you just offering them up like that. That's awful.
I'll offer them up or you get to go be the slave. You didn't make the system.
Yeah, that's the worst boss of the year if I ever saw one.
I'd be very mad at him.
And so then Kaladin goes over, and because they're in the chasm right now, and he watches the men training and practicing the sphere, and sort of helps some of them, showing them better stances and thrusts and everything. And he watches Moash, and Moash has become the best of all of them with the spear. And Moash's determination and just practicing and pushing himself reminds Kaladin a lot of himself, with how he pushed himself after Tien died. And Kaladin wonders what would have happened to him if Terra hadn't coaxed him out of his single-minded determination. So Kaladin goes over and he stops Moash, and he tells him that, dedication is good, but don't work yourself too ragged. And he tells Moash that he wants him to join Kaladin running out front and distracting the Parshendi. Moash, he's happy about being able to be out front and thinks of it as an honor. Kaladin thinks back to about how months ago, the bridgemen, they would just take the new ones and the weak ones, throw them in the front of the bridge to take all the arrows. And now, every single one of them have volunteered to take this job running out front, which is the most dangerous job. And Kaladin, he asks Moash, why do you work so hard? Why are you pushing yourself so much? And Moash replies, vengeance. Kaladin tells him that he himself had lost his brother, and that had led him to train and push himself. Moash tells Kaladin that there is a difference between them. Kaladin was pushing himself because he wanted to save someone, while Moash is doing it because he wants to kill someone. Kaladin asks who it is, and Moash says maybe someday he'll tell Kaladin.
Unless this is some kind of like brilliant fake out to get me to think exactly what I'm about to think, dropping a little thing like that makes me very not worried about them dying now, or him at least. Because we've had a few characters come out with like, oh, we've got long-term things that could be interesting. So that's either a brilliant fake out on Brandon Sanderson's part, or just totally makes me not worried about at least the ones who have these long-term
Curious
plan
futures.
things.
Like,
Yeah, curious futures. That's a good way to say it.
you're like, how will that play out?
Mm-hmm.
He's got a promising future.
Mm-hmm. It could be smart if next time Moish just immediately dies. I certainly would not see that coming for that specific purpose, you know.
Mhm.
However, that's very frustrating for a lot of readers, so I don't know if he'd do that.
Kaladin goes, he continues to help the men train, and he thinks about how, if running is still their best option. And Rock comes over and he asks Kaladin about the troubled look that he has. Kaladin tells him that now that they're doing this, running out front, taking all this attention, Sadeas will never let them leave. If they run, they will keep sending people after them. Kaladin wonders if they should just stay as bridgemen instead of being chased. But Rock tells him that even with them wearing this armor and stuff, they're still going to die. And Kaladin knows that even if their deaths are slowed down quite a bit by this armor, they're still going to eventually be whittled down to nothing. And Rock tells him that, he will speak with Sigil about this, and maybe they could find some plan. One thing he throws out is maybe they can find a way to convince Sadeas that all of them had died on a bridge run. That way Sadeas isn't hunting them. And Scar calls to Kaladin to join in and spar with some of them, but Kaladin turns him down. Tev comes over and says that it would be good for morale to see Kaladin with the spear in his hand again. But Kaladin tells Tef that he can't. He will fight when the time comes, but if he picks up that spear and gets into it now, then it's going to make him just too eager and push to attack. And Tef says that he has seen that look before in Kaladin's eyes, and says that the last time Kaladin tried to protect someone, he failed. Kaladin says yes. And Tef says that he hopes that Kaladin will be ready when the time comes, because this lot will need him. And that's the end of this chapter.
I sense kind of a theme with these characters.
The slave people, or with Kaladin and Dalinar?
Just, yeah, Kaladin and Dalinar. With these chapters specifically.
Please keep us in suspense, Sheta.
Oh, I don't want to spoiler for the next chapter, but just, I guess, the, like, self-control aspect and, like, self-imposed self-control, like, knowing yourself and trying to better yourself in that way.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'm noticing, I mean, there's been other moments, but with these two specifically, seeing a lot of actual similarities between Dalinar and Kaladin, you know, as if they're just the same people born to different circumstances, you know. Like if Kaladin was born to a noble family like Dalinar is, and like had been schooled in combat and encouraged towards war, he'd probably be exactly like this guy, right? You know?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else from this chapter you want to go over?
No, I think it's fun that they're making armor for real. I thought that was really fun. And that they have somebody to do it. I feel like that would be my job if I was on the bridge crew.
I think it's funny that Kaladin's their guy in charge, but he has like no plan on how to get them out at all. His only plans are like, how do I get them to live a little longer? Like he's not that kind of guy.
Yeah, he's just doing his best, and I think that's interesting. And especially as someone who doesn't have any real authority, like he is just someone who has the desire to do it, you know. He's not qualified in other ways.
Yeah.
All right. So the title of this chapter was Fear. Why do you believe that was chosen for the chapter title?
Maybe it's that fear of what I was talking about, fear of crossing the line and not being able to come back, and just the fear of losing yourself and crossing the line and making mistakes.
Yeah, when he says that, you know, he couldn't protect someone last time here, it gets me thinking that the reason his brother died was specifically because he gave in to this side of him and liked battle too much and forgot to protect people. So I think that's something that's constantly made him afraid to like even pick up the thing, because you know he did that then. If he did that then, and then the next time he did it, he got his whole crew killed. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So he's definitely got some kind of fear of maybe not what he'll become, but what happens when he becomes that.
All right. So, yep. Then we will move on to the next chapter, chapter 64, A Man of Extremes. And first thing we have, there is some artwork, kind of just showing the layout and how the whole battle of the tower, like, which we're going to get to in a chapter or two, just where people like enter the battle and stuff. But now with the epigraph, they come from the pit, two dead men, a heart in their hands, and I know that I have seen true glory. Subject, a rickshaw puller. So this chapter, it's a Dalinar chapter. So we begin, and Navani and Dalinar are walking around the grounds of Elikar's palace. She says that she couldn't decide if he was interested in her or not when they were younger. Half the time he seemed like a flirt, but then backed away, and the other half, she thought that she had just completely misread him. He tells her that he did not mean to confuse her. He had intended to court her, but Gavilar expressed a preference for her, so Dalinar decided to step aside. At the time, Gavilar, he did not realize that Dalinar was interested in Navani. He had thought that when Dalinar had introduced the two of them, that it was Dalinar indicating that the two of them should court. Navani asked if he often stepped aside for Gavilar. Dalinar says that he always did. He didn't think much of it, but it was kind of frustrating. Gavilar, he was a force of will. He didn't force Dalinar to defer, but that's just how life was. And Navani says that Dalinar then spent the next 2 decades making her think that he hated her. That's just how she took his coldness with her and how he would often leave the room when she arrived. He tells her that he was just containing himself.
I think it's really interesting about Galavar that he says that whole thing about,
Galavar.
Oh, what am I supposed to be saying?
Who's Galavar? Dalinar?
No, his brother.
Gavilar.
Gavilar, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I think it's really interesting with that he does that thing like, he just wanted you, so I stepped aside. That's just the way it is, which I think sounds like a really, like, most people would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But the fact that she's just like, yep, that is how he was, says a lot about the character and probably why she did not really like being with him that much.
Yep, and Navani says that, she had always wondered what he was hiding behind his eyes through those years. And then, shh, came along. And when she said his wife's name, it came to him like the sound of rushing air, and then slipped from his mind immediately.
Is that how it sounded in the books? Like, shh.
Yeah, that was weird.
In the audio? Because you won't know, Sheta, in the book, it was like all grayed out. It was not as dark as the rest of the text. It was really strange looking.
What was it? Was it the name or just the word shh?
It was SH, like shh.
Oh, okay.
Like,
so it was
like air like that.
Wow.
And it was, at first I thought it was like a type or like a,
misprint?
like the book, not a misprint, like the word was faded because I just kind of half saw it out of the corner of my eye, Then I get
Like
there
it
and
ran
I'm
out
like,
of ink.
yeah, I was like, oh, that's such a weird, interesting way to do that. I don't think I've ever seen that before in a book, that effect.
That's cool. I want to look at it.
And Navani goes on and she says that woman changed everything, and Dalinar did seem to love her. And Dalinar, he wants to ask her about his wife, but he knows that would just kind of be a weird question to ask her. So instead he asks Navani what her opinion on his wife was. Navani says that everyone loved shh, and Navani had tried to hate her, but she only wound up being mildly jealous. Navani says that she just fit Dalinar so well. She never bullied those around her and was always so calm. Navani should have been able to hate her, but she was just so nice. But Navani does say that she wasn't very clever. She wasn't a fool, but she also wasn't cunning.
Always really interesting to me that a cunning, clever person who values that about themselves, even in real life, often seems to look down upon those who aren't as quick-witted, even though that's like actually one of the least important things about a person ever. So I think I really liked seeing her describe that. She has that thought and feeling about her.
Navani says that, Dalinar and his wife, the two of them fit temperamentally. And she had thought the four of them, her, Dalinar, his wife, and herself, no, her, Dalinar, Gavilar, and Dalinar's wife, that four. She thought that the four of them could be good friends, but Dalinar was just always stiff with Navani.
Bet he was.
Yeah, no double dates for us. Like,
Mine was a double entendre, Sheta. I'm surprised you didn't enjoy it.
oh wait, what'd you say?
I will not repeat that.
Oh no.
You'll have to listen to the episode to hear.
Oh, I'm sad. I'm just gonna go whoo, just in response.
Yeah,
Great.
that's what I expected from you. Yeah, something like
Oh,
that.
hot tub nights. Wife swap. Is that
No.
no? Okay.
No, nothing like that.
Okay.
All right, and then Navani asks if he regrets what the two of them have started, but he says no. He doesn't know how to proceed, but he's not going to let it go. She says that, maybe you could bend a little, but he says that he can't because he is a man of extremes. He has learned to control those extremes by dedicating his life to something. First it was Gavilar, and now it is the codes and the teachings of Noadon. And if Dalinar let a few cracks in, then he might return to the man he used to be. And Dalinar, he thinks back to a time where he had contemplated killing his brother for the throne and Navani's hand. On that day, Dalinar had sworn that he would never hold the throne. It's one of his restraints.
That is pretty crazy.
That is an extreme man.
Yes.
It's like I can't
No.
even think about that because I'll just kill my brother.
I can
for
just
you.
kill him, take over the kingdom, and then totally have the girl I want to be with.
Yeah, and everything else.
Yeah, like I could do it, man.
Mm-hmm.
This
That's
is one of
almost
the
like-
best arguments for religion I've ever heard. Because a lot of people are actually like that,
Yeah.
Like they need some kind of, not even like something to believe in, just something to make them not be totally just the worst person they could possibly
Psychopathic.
be. Yeah.
Very interesting.
We've seen him think about that moment before too, where he was in the thrill, and remember the thrill once got so in him that he almost like killed Gavilar. And Navani, she tells Dalinar that nothing in Gavilar's book prohibits their relationship. But Dalinar says that it just feels wrong, and he asks for Navani's understanding. When he is frustrated, it is with the situation, it's not with her. And he's starting to worry less about the rumors of the two of them that may go around and maybe even have already started going around. And he's more starting to worry about how Elhokar will react. Navani says that he might not notice, but Dalinar says that their relationship could feed into Elhokar's fears of assassinations, and he could think the two of them are conspiring against him. And then horns begin to blow, and by listening to them, they can tell that the horns are announcing that a chrysalis has been spotted on the tower. And that's a plateau. It's been mentioned, a few times throughout this book, but it's one where they have always failed whenever they have gone for that plateau. So it will be a major victory if Dalinar and Sadeas can work together and win there. And Navani says that Dalinar is right about Sadeas and that they need him for their cause, but to also keep him at arm's length. And Dalinar, he's going to leave, so he's about to embrace her, but then he stops because there's still, a bunch of people around. So instead, he just bows to her. And as he's leaving, he thinks about how Navani had used the phrases that they need Sadeas for their cause. And he thinks, like, when did she start considering this our cause together? And he realizes that he's also considering it their cause together as well. And then the chapter switches to a Kaladin point of view.
This point of view change pissed me off because it did not feel like a normal Kaladin one. It felt like it was somebody else's point of view for a bit. It was driving me nuts. Did you get that at all, Sheta, or am I just crazy?
Honestly, it's kind of hard to tell.
The way it described it felt more like just a narrator. The way it talked about Kaladin, like it wasn't from his point of view. Like it was just some other person.
Yeah.
And it really, really drove me nuts because I was like, okay, who am I following actually? Because they're talking about Kaladin in their kind of third person head, but then it is just a Kaladin one. So I'm wondering, was that just me like being weird, or if you felt that at all? But it sounds like you didn't really.
No, I didn't catch that in the same way.
Well, there's nothing to catch. That just means I was wrong.
Well, no, maybe not, because have we ever had that happen before where...
I think, no, we've had point of view changes between Dalinar and Adolin.
Okay,
I don't know if we've had it.
Paranoid?
Yeah, not paranoid, just to me, the way it was written felt different than Like it wasn't from his third-person POV. That's all.
Let's see.
But if no one agrees with me, then I am wrong.
Yeah, because this is like the first time in this book where the point of view change swaps in chapter between two of the different storylines we've been going through. Because, like Justin said, we've had Adolin and Dalinar swap in the same chapter, but they're in the same storyline. There was that one time where we switched from Kaladin to Gaz in a chapter, but once again, that's the same storyline. Right here, we're starting off with Dalinar, switching to Kaladin, and then we're going to switch over to Adolin. It's the sort of thing that tells you that you're reaching that end of a Brandon Sanderson book where you're getting these things that are breaking how the rules of the book have been so far.
So you're just frantically like looking back and forth. Faster,
He wants you, he wants you kind of unsettled, unsafe. So you're like, wait, what's happening? So you feel like anyone could die at any second.
Mm-hmm. I see. I would love to see this in a movie or a show where like the scene cuts from character to character start getting more and more frequent and like building up excitement and stuff.
Well, yeah, any movie's climax is like that, you know.
Yeah, maybe
like think of like the 5 plots going on at the end of Phantom Menace when they're all cutting really fast, right?
Yeah.
And I like when things break the narrative rules, though it pisses me off at the same time.
Elantris, that first time when it's a Sereni chapter, then it just cuts to Raoden.
I didn't like it. It pissed me off.
Or at the
more
end,
excuses to skip a Wraithen chapter.
Or at the end of the book, when that first time when you've had Raoden, Sereni, Wraithen, all book, and then all of a sudden it's a Kaladin point of view. All right. But so anyway, so we're with Kaladin, and he's also there. He's listening to those horns going off, and he knows, oh, this is talking about the Tower, which is the same place where Kaladin had once caused a disaster with the whole side carry fiasco. So he has Bridge 4 begin to put on their carapace, and as they're going by, a lot of like soldiers and other people are just watching them. And then a round of cheers come from the other bridges. Tef says, well, that's new. And Kaladin tells them that they finally have realized what Bridge 4 is. They're champions. And then we switch over to Adolin. And Adolin, he's getting his shard plate put on, and he's thinking about how, hey, my father is not insane. And Adolin, after realizing that, he had done some soul searching, and he has realized that he is glad that he was wrong. He didn't know what Dalinar's visions meant, though, but it was enough to know that Dalinar was not insane.
That's a nice thing to know about your pop while he's, leader of the armies.
Yeah, we've all thought that every now and then.
I think Pop might be insane.
Oh, thank goodness. Or
the supernatural exists. That's great. I'm glad.
Dad's not insane. He's just getting visions from God.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes perfect sense.
And that worked so well for Zane.
Zane got a kiss. So, after his armor is on, Adolin heads to the staging area, where Dalinar is conferring with Teleb and Illimar. And then Sadeas arrives at Dalinar's staging area as well, but Dalinar says that Sadeas should be getting his own army ready right now. Sadeas tells him that they need to confer first. He says that they are assaulting the Tower, which is a very large plateau. And in the past, Dalinar had mentioned that they need to trap a large enough force of Parshendi, and the Tower is a perfect area for that. Sadeas' scribes estimate that the Parshendi can't have more than 20 or 30,000 soldiers left, and they will commit 10,000 to the Tower. So if Dalinar and Sadeas can corner the Parshendi and kill them, then they will pretty much destroy the Parshendi's ability to wage war. And Adolin agrees and says, tells his father that this is what he's been waiting for. Sadeas says that they need troops, as many as they can get, and he asks how many Dalinar can bring. Dalinar answers that on a short notice, he can get about 8,000 soldiers. Sadeas says that he himself has assembled 7,000. So they are going to take all 40 of Sadeas' bridge crews and go. Dalinar says that he won't risk lives on Sadeas' bridge, though. Sadeas tells him that he's has a new strategy, which has made the casualties of the bridgemen drop almost to zero. Dalinar mentions it must be because of the armor that they're wearing, and he asks what made Sadeas change. Yeah, because Sadeas says that maybe Dalinar is getting through to him. Sadeas
Seeing that from his perspective is so funny. Like, what made you change? When we know for sure this had nothing to do with Sadeas. I should have realized he was being untrustworthy the second that he replies as he's about to.
Yeah, because Sadeas says that maybe Dalinar is getting through to him.
Mm-hmm. That makes you have to throw into question all the times that he made claims like that earlier in this book. Because that is total horseshit, and we know it for 100% sure. And the fact that he says it with such sincerity that I almost believe him really makes me really, really question every word he's said up till now.
No comment.
No comment on what? You know he's lying.
We don't know 100%.
You don't know 100% that he had nothing to do with Kaladin's plan. And he only did it in spite of Sadeas trying to have him killed.
With characters like Hoyd and other stuff like that happening with visions telling people what to do and stuff like that, how do we know Sadeas doesn't have someone telling him what to do to help all these characters like progress and grow?
You are telling me that you believe that Sadeas is trying to get Kaladin killed because he's trying to help him grow as a person. Is that what you're saying?
To develop his powers, yeah.
To develop his powers. That is the most asinine thing you have ever said on this podcast, Sheta. And that includes the Sadeas Adolin ship. That is just pure fucking nonsense, and I will have no part of it.
That's fine. These are just thoughts that are keeping that afloat in me, and I'm just sharing them.
You should not keep it afloat in you.
I'm just keeping all possibilities open.
You know,
not...
Sheta, I even have a theory that can somewhat, not fully, but somewhat absolve Sadeas of this. That's based on reason, not on random, maybe he's having visions that he needs to give Kaladin a character arc nonsense.
I'm just saying there's other elements at play that we don't know yet.
Yeah, maybe it's just some unseen magical bullshit.
No, just that it's that God works in mysterious ways.
God works in mysterious ways. He's like, please send more bridgemen to their deaths. And Sadeas, in his visions, is just like, no, they're innocent people. Please, no.
That's not what
and
I
God's
mean.
Like, you must do it. It will help
God,
this one
he has
dude.
A purpose for
It'll
everyone.
help. Yeah.
Maybe Sadeas' purpose is to do that, you know?
I am not going to get in an argument about religious free will that will spill over into like real religious arguments.
Sheta, I need to ask you, how long did you watch Star Wars before you realized, I think Palpatine might be evil?
What, the prequels? That I would already know.
Or did you still consider him good throughout all 6 of the movies?
No, I did not.
So when you're watching Lord of the Rings, Sheta, when did you accept that Sauron was the villain and he wasn't just trying to help the worlds come together and forge a new
Lord of the
era?
Rings stuff is different. There's clear good and evil in those ones.
Yeah. Okay, so when you were watching Die Hard, Sheta, when did you accept that Hans Gruber was just trying to rob the place and wasn't trying to help John get back together with his wife?
Oh my gosh. I will not comment on these. It's not the same. I think what I said makes sense, so that's fine.
All right, and Sadeas does tell Dalinar that, if you're still worried, then Sadeas will do the usual thing, attack first, make a foothold for Dalinar. And Dalinar, he agrees to this, and he says that they will end this war. And that's the end of the chapter.
Well, for all my Sadeas distrust, I did not expect things were going to go the way they did. So that's good. I never trusted him even here, and even though I had that feeling of knowing he was lying, I just written it off as Sadeas being Sadeas, I did not expect things were going to go as they're about to go.
All right. So this chapter was called A Man of Extremes. So why do you believe that was chosen for the chapter title?
Dalinar is extreme.
Sadeas is extreme.
Yeah. I don't think I can agree with that.
I think it's pretty extreme to do a move like that.
I mean, By the definition of the word extreme, you would be correct.
No, we kind of touched upon this before, but just with Kaladin and Dalinar being a man of extreme, that it's either 0 or 1,000,000, so they have to like really have the self-control not to cross that line. Right, Justin?
Yes, correct. 50 points to you, Sheta.
Yahoo!
All right. Then we will move on to chapter 65, The Tower. Epigraph. I see them. They are rocks. They are vengeful spirits. Eyes of red. Subject. A dark-eyed young woman of 15. Subject was reportedly mentally unstable since childhood.
That one's weird because it makes me wonder if all of the Spren are secretly an evil force trying to do like harvest or steal human emotions or just the workings of the world or something, since they talked about, Kaladin's brother talking about seeing things in rocks and stuff like that. That's creepy to me.
Tien just like the patterns on rock.
Yeah, but there was some it seemed to me like there was something he saw in them that others did not. That's how I interpreted it.
He had an unhealthy obsession with rocks, so yeah.
Don't know that I'd describe
I
it
would
that
say
way.
so. Like, I also have that same unhealthy obsession. So I relate. It's weird. So I think you got something there, Justin.
Oh, I don't think I got something. I'm saying that kind of stuff creeps me out because rocks have been a recurring theme in this book.
Yeah, I still have that line I believe in. Like a rock will save Kaladin's life.
A rock did
Multiple
save
times.
Kaladin's life.
Yeah, but I think an actual rock will too.
An actual rock. The rock thing was just a coincidence.
That's a theme. Lots of rocks are gonna save Kaladin's life, and if you count all the gems and things, those are rocks, kind of.
Gems are not rocks.
Okay,
They are
minerals.
gems.
Yeah, but minerals and rocks are.
I don't
basically
think
the
they're
same thing.
minerals, are they? Am I incorrect about that?
Well, that's what diamonds and stuff are.
I don't know enough about 6th grade geology to push back or
I did my
agree.
6th grade science project on diamonds. And if that's fact is wrong, then I I probably failed that.
And you know who else is connected to a rock is Zeth, because he has his oath stone.
Yeah. Maybe Kaladin will get that stone, and that will save his life.
That would suck for him.
Knowing Kaladin, he'd probably just throw the rock in the ocean and be like,
Yeah, I highly doubt he'd have a slave.
It's like, I don't believe in this. And then Zeph is like, I'm gonna have to be a slave no matter what.
Yeah,
like,
I'm a slave to a fish now.
Yeah, and you just doomed me, idiot.
I think if Kaladin threw it in the ocean, Zeth would be required to go into the ocean, get the rock, and stand out like the beach just holding it.
Oh, that's so sad.
Because I think he mentioned that's what happened like after Gavilar's assassination. Like the Parshendi threw the rock away, so he had to just stand at the side of the road holding the rock until someone came by.
Poor Zeph.
Poor Zeph.
Whoever made such a creature should be punished.
Well, he's truthless.
I don't care what his culture
Still
is.
don't know what that means.
Unless there's a magical aspect that binds him to it, I don't feel sorry for somebody who, just because their culture says they must kill whoever somebody holding a rock says they must kill. I will not feel sorry for him.
This is probably supernatural.
If it's supernatural, then I would feel sorry for him.
How do you not assume that it's supernatural?
It didn't seem supernatural to me. It seemed cultural.
It
seemed like something he takes very serious. He does have supernatural powers.
Mm-hmm.
He does not seem like he's like, oh, I must do as this says. He seems like I must do as this says.
There was something that he had to do that made me just believe that it was supernatural, though.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but like his when he had to like self-mutilate and stuff, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, why not? People do that for their culture already without even needing a slave rock.
Okay. Well, there was other stuff.
Also, he could heal if he took in Stormlight.
What's that saying about?
What does it got to do with it?
Yeah, if he self-mutilates, it's not as big of a deal because he can heal
Oh,
it.
I see.
It still hurts.
All right. So into this chapter. It's a few hours later, and Dalinar and Sadeas are standing on a rock formation overlooking the tower. The Parshendi, they've already gotten there, but they have not gotten the gem heart yet. Sadeas says that Dalinar should be glad that he has Sadeas' bridges, because the chasms around the tower, they might still be too big for a Shardbearer to be able to jump. And with how wide the chasms are, it cannot be approached from the east or the south. And Dalinar notes that Sadeas has some of his scouts going to adjacent plateaus. That way they can keep an eye on a second Parshendi army that may arrive.
Oh, smart. Good old Sadeas. He thinks of everything.
And Sadeas says that, you know what, the two of them, they should attack together, ride out in a glorious charge and stuff. But Dalinar looks and he can see that very few of the bridgemen are wearing that armor. And he knows that hundreds of bridgemen will die if they assault together. But he thinks, is that any different than him asking his own men to run at an army and attack them?
Yes.
Aren't they all part of the same army?
No. Some of them are slaves, some of them are soldiers.
And Dalinar tells Sadeas no, and that he will only attack after Sadeas makes a landing point. The codes say not to force your men to do something you won't do yourself, and he would never rush the enemy carrying a bridge.
When you put it that way, it does sound kind of stupid.
And Sadeas asks Dalinar if they're still planning on dining tonight to discuss future strategy. And Dalinar, he assumes so. And Sadeas, he leaves 8 bridges for Dalinar to use. And Dalinar, he's looking over the tower and he thinks of his strategy. They need to push the Parshendi to the southeast and corner them there between the army and the chasm. And then if a second Parshendi army happens to arrive, then the Alethi can focus on fighting the trap Parshendi while holding the defensive line against the newcomers. And Dalinar looks at all the Sadeas' bridgemen and sees the one in armor. He wonders why only that one bridge was allowed to wear armor. And Adolin asks Dalinar where he wants to make their landing, and Dalinar points out a spot on the plateau, so they plan it all out. And then we cut over to Kaladin again, and he's dancing with the wind, he's dodging arrows. And even though there are 4 other bridgemen out front, Kaladin is still getting most of the focus from the Parshendi. They just really want to kill him. And the thing with this chapter, I could have sworn it told us who the other 4 bridgemen were, but it didn't. I know one is Moash from like 2 chapters ago. Kaladin said he wanted Moash out there, but I don't think it tells us the other 3 that are running out front.
If it did, I didn't see it.
I don't know. For some reason, I just got the idea that it was like Teft and Scar in them, but I don't think so. I think Teft is with the bridge. And
yeah, no, Teft would be too old to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because Teft gets hit in here, and I didn't think that he was one of the people. It sounded like he was just on the bridge.
But yeah, so I don't know who the other 3 out front are, but anyways, Kaladin's getting the most.
Yeah, those 3 soon-to-be dead men.
Mm-hmm.
And 5 of Sadeas' bridges were dropped on the assault, but the rest got down. Sadeas' army charges across the chasm, and they're enough of a fight so that way the Parshendi archers, they can't keep focusing on Kaladin. And then somebody shouts for Kaladin, and he looks and he finds Scar on the ground. And Scar's complaining because he got an arrow in the foot, and he also thinks that it is so stupid that he got shot in the foot.
It's one of the worst places, man. That really sucks.
Should have made some boot covers.
And then Moash also calls for Kaladin, and he brings over Teft, who had gotten an arrow in the shoulder. And Drehy tells Kaladin that Teft had probably gotten it while they were pushing the bridge across, but Teft had been trying to hide the fact that he had gotten shot. So Kaladin tells the men to keep an eye out for the Parshendi, in case they try to jump them like they had in the past. Barak says that Sadeas' men are keeping this area, and it's pretty secure, so they don't need to worry about that. And Lopin, he's heated up a knife, so Kaladin uses that hot knife, and he cauterizes Teft's wound. And then we're back with Dalinar, and once Sadeas has made a foothold, Dalinar, he leads his bridge crews on an assault. And his bridgemen, they're pretty relieved to be able to do this without being shot at by arrows. And, once the bridge is down, Dalinar and his Cobalt Guard, they charge onto the plateau and they begin attacking. And Dalinar, he's trying to lead his army, get them across the chasm as quickly as possible. That way they can move and pin down the Parshendi. And the thrill surges in Dalinar as he fights. He's fighting, and he feels joy, and he wonders, where are the Parshendi Shardbearers? He had seen one weeks ago after a battle, but why hadn't, that Shardbearer reappeared since then? And he wonders why the Parshendi would send out so many soldiers to this battle, but not a Shardbearer. And there's like this rock formation that Parshendi are on top, like chucking rocks down and shit. So Dalinar, he climbs up it, slashes some of their legs with Oathbringer, gets up and starts picking up those rocks, chucking back at them until they're all off the little rock formation. And he looks out onto the battlefield, and he can see that his army is doing well. And Dalinar, he lifts up Oathbringer, and his men cheer. Yeah!
I'll never do that again. Killed all momentum.
I liked it.
Yeah, I did not.
I was like, yay, woohoo!
And then Dalinar goes back into battle, and he notices that Sadeas' army has stalled. So with the Parshendi army, Dalinar has his force spear through them and pretty much split the army into two. So this way they can trap half the Parshendi against the chasm, and the other half will be trapped between Sadeas and Dalinar's army. And Dalinar thinks back to him and Gavilar. Gavilar had been the leader, but Dalinar was the warrior. The people they defeated, they surrendered to Gavilar, but the Blackthorn was the one who had scattered them. And through the fight, Dalinar knocks down a Parshendi, and he raises his blade, but then he looks at the Parshendi's face, and he realizes that this Parshendi was just a youth, and he freezes up. He wonders what this Parshendi is seeing as he looks up at him, and if he just sees Dalinar as just some monster in armor. This Parshendi was young, and he probably only would have been a boy when Gavilar had been murdered. The thrill vanishes from Dalinar. And then one of the Cobalt Guard comes over and kills the youth. And Dalinar was just too slow to stop him from doing it. And Dalinar, he looks around the battlefield, and he's just seeing all the dead and dying Parshendi. The ones that are in the middle of dying, singing their death songs. And Dalinar thinks of the codes, and he begins to just feel sick. He didn't find this glorious or find strength in it. He found this revolting, repellent, and ghastly. And he tries to get back into it, telling himself that, they killed Gavilar. And he thinks about how the visions are telling him to unite them, and wonders if that also means uniting the Parshendi. What had the visions wanted him to do? And Dalinar wonders what is happening to him. Adolin comes up to his father and asks what they should do. Dalinar asks about what, and Adolin points, and Dalinar sees the second Parshendi army is arriving. Dalinar wonders why Sadeas' scouts hadn't warned them, and he looks and he finds that Sadeas' army is retreating. Half of Sadeas' army is already across the bridges, and all 8 of the bridges that Sadeas had given Dalinar to use have been pulled up and are over with Sadeas. Sadeas was abandoning Dalinar's army, surrounded by the Parshendi, and he was taking all the bridges with him.
So Sheta, taking the bridges, how do you explain that part?
Well, there's only one way to get him back. And I don't want to...
I'm sorry, do you think one bridge, Kaladin's going to bring one bridge and that's going to save the whole army?
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to happen.
Well,
the entire army.
He's been very inspiring to the other bridge crew.
Oh, goodness. They're all going to rebel against Sadeas.
Let's follow Bridge 4. Let's go.
Yeah.
And be heroic. See, and that's how you bring them together.
You poor thing.
And that's how Sadeas planned it to go all along.
And that's how Sadeas planned it to go. Oh, okay. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good to know. I thought Sadeas had betrayed Dalinar.
Sheta, you could just eat crow and admit I was wrong about Sadeas.
If there's a little bit of maybe he has a bigger plan, or maybe he's part of a bigger plan, whether or not he did it on purpose, or like...
God wants 8,000 men to die so Kaladin can use his superpower. Okay.
To save 8 million, maybe.
Yes, as God often thinks. 8,000 to save 8 million.
Mysterious
which was
ways,
my plan. My mysterious plan all along.
Think of in the past how many people died.
You know,
And
Sheta, your version of this god guy sounds like kind of a indecisive weirdo.
Ida, should we go back and look at like the sort of ideals or what they mentioned Radiants were like from last week's stuff? Where it quite literally said that it's not worth it to kill one innocent in order to save 10.
well, who
Well,
said that?
you see, Joe, those 8,000 people who are dying, each of them was going to give birth to the next Hitler. So this is actually long run good. We just can't see the mysterious ways, right, Sheta?
I can't. I'm just a mere mortal. So
Yeah, just a mere mortal.
who am I to question?
Yeah, this fictional god from this fictional world where
Hmm.
we don't even know what the rules are or if there is such a being.
I'm just keeping an open mind.
Yep, just keeping an open mind. That too is why I never judge a villain even after a movie ends, because maybe God wanted him to do it.
Justin, one thing in Cheetah's defense, the visions did tell Dalinar to trust Sadeas.
See, that's why.
Yeah, but Sheta, we're not talking about the visions leading Dalinar on a mysterious path. We're talking about them leading Sadeas on a mysterious path.
Yeah, and it's mysterious to Dalinar because he doesn't know what Sadeas' path is.
Yeah, I mean, by that logic, I could say anything was attributed to some vision we haven't seen. But I'm not going to make that assumption about characters unless it's explicitly said.
Justin, in the words of Xenophilius Lovegood, now you're starting to get it.
Okay. I cannot argue with that.
All right. So that was the end of that chapter. So anything else you two want to discuss from that chapter?
Did not expect that to be what happens, but did not think the battle was going to go well based on what little I saw that map.
It was a turn, definitely.
One thing that's so interesting to see is, once you know what's coming, it's so obvious, like all the hints beforehand. Sadeas coming. Dalinar, you need to bring as many soldiers as you can bring. Oh, don't worry. We'll use only my bridges. We'll use my scouts. And like during that one with Kaladin, it's just like, oh, we don't need to worry about the Parshendi arrows. Sadeas' army is keeping this area pretty well secure.
I wonder why.
It's sad because it's just all based on trust and teamwork and niceness,
Mm-hmm.
The way Adolin was like so upset about it was exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Like we even came up with the plan, like we even like set it up so that we trusted him to have our back and that was our only out, like they completely put all their trust in him. And that was the downfall.
All right. So this one's an easy one, but so that chapter was called The Tower. So why do you believe that was chosen as a chapter title?
Because Dalinar is about to get Eiffel Towered by Parshendi.
Ew, Justin.
I'm sorry, did I misinterpret the question?
It's not called Eiffel Tower.
Well, what kind of tower do you think he's going to get then? The Leaning Tower of Pizza?
More like
Pisa?
the Parshendi are going to get Eiffel Towered by Dalinar and Kaladin.
You think they're going to solo the army just through fighting? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I thought about it too. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't like, is that possible by the rules set up of this book that 2 men could take, or 3 men could take on an entire army solo?
If Kaladin gets his hands on some shard plate and a blade, they could do it.
The whole army? I don't know about that.
Well, there's got to be another element, like an earthquake or a storm happens.
Or a storm? Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
An earthquake. This is a storm book. What are you talking about?
Wouldn't a storm just kill everyone if it's a high storm, just wash them all over the edge?
Not if all 3 have storm armor.
Yeah.
I didn't say the rest of the army was going to survive.
Our characters will.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll move on to our last chapter for this week. Chapter 66. Codes. Epigraph. That chanting. That singing. Those rasping voices. Subject. A middle-aged potter. Reported seeing strange dreams during high storms during the last 2 years.
That's interesting. So I knew the Parshendi were up to some weird afterlife shit.
So we're with Kaladin. He's checking on Scar's wound after he had patched it up. He tells Scar that, you're lucky with where this hit you on the foot, and you will be able to walk on it again. However, you will not be able to put weight on it until it is healed. And at the same time, Lopin, he's trying to pour some water down Tef's throat, and Tef yells at him and says that he's not an invalid. He just takes the water himself and drinks it. And Kaladin, he looks over at the battlefield, because last he saw their army was winning. But when he sees that the army is retreating, he at first thinks that maybe Sadeas is bringing his men around to attack in another direction, but then notices that the rear guard's already across, so that's not what's happening. And Sadeas' banner was still up, and he wonders, maybe Sadeas was injured, and that's why they're pulling everyone back. But Kaladin knows they're going to have to take the bridges, so he tells Drahe and Leighton to grab Scar, and for Rock and Pete to grab Teft, while the others to get into bridge position. And Kaladin has Moash come with him while they go to see what is going on. As Kaladin and Moash are walking, Kaladin tells him that Sadeas is pulling out, but it just doesn't make sense. The battle has barely begun and his army was winning. Moash wonders if Sadeas was dead, but Kaladin says that Sadeas' banner is still flying, so that's probably not the case. Unless they're keeping it up so that way the soldiers don't worry that their high prince has died. And Kaladin notices that the 8 bridge crews that had gone with Dalinar, they are now moving back over to the same plateau that Kaladin's currently at. And Kaladin sees another Parshendi army that's arrived and is pouring onto the tower. And Sadeas crosses a bridge, and Kaladin sees that Sadeas' armor doesn't have a scratch on it. And the same goes for Sadeas' honor guard. Kaladin now realizes what is going on. Dalinar's forces are now surrounded with Parshendi, and the Parshendi were filling in the areas that Sadeas' army was at. Kaladin says that this was a trap, and Sadeas is leaving Dalinar and all of his soldiers to die. He thinks that this makes Amaram's betrayal seem almost trivial. Kaladin then moves over to where Sadeas is, as Sadeas takes off his helmet. And Sadeas looks back to where Dalinar is fighting and says, "I told you, old friend. I said that honor of yours would get you killed someday." And then we move over to Dalinar and Adolin, who are continuing to fight the Parshendi. And Dalinar sees that Sadeas' army was now fully across the bridges, and all the bridges have been pulled up. And Adolin shouts that he had warned Dalinar not to trust Sadeas, and Dalinar agrees with that. Adolin says they walked right into this, and they had used all of Sadeas' bridges and scouts. Dalinar thinks about how Sadeas will likely tell everyone that they had become overwhelmed and he had to retreat for his safety. Sure, some of Sadeas' men may tell the truth, and the High Princes, they'll likely know what the truth is, but nobody would challenge Sadeas after this. Also, the other High Princes were just too displeased with Dalinar, so the only one who might speak up would be Elhokar. But Sadeas had Elhokar's ear. Dalinar wonders how he could have misjudged Sadeas so much. He had just saved his life. And he sees Sadeas stop and look back before moving on. Adolin and Dalinar, they regroup, and he can see in Adolin's face that he knew that they were all going to die. Dalinar tells Adolin that this was his own fault, and he has led them all to destruction. But Adolin tells him that this isn't his fault, and asks what he would have done differently. He had been trying to make Alethkar better. Should he have just been like Sadeas and the others? Adolin says that he wishes they hadn't let Sadeas trick them, but he will not blame Dalinar for Sadeas' deceit. Adolin tells him he was right to follow the codes. And Dalinar wonders what he would have changed about himself. He would have been more cautious of Sadeas, but he wouldn't have given up on the codes and been the pitiless killer he'd been in his youth. He was not ashamed of the man that the book had made him. He was no longer confused about who he was. And then Dalinar shouts to his men that it is time to fight. They follow the codes not for gains, but because they loathe the people they'd otherwise be. The end for all men is the same, and it is the path that separates them. They will face that end with their heads held high. Other men may try to destroy him, but Dalinar, he will retain his glory. And so Dalinar's men, they stood taller, and they charged back into battle. And Dalinar thinks that he will die here, but he does have peace. His one regret is that Renarin will now be High Prince, and he's gonna be surrounded by enemies. And he never delivered that shard plate to him. And Dalinar tells Renarin to stay strong and learn wisdom more quickly than he did. And that's the end of our chapters for this week.
Renarin.
What about him?
I've always been a little suspicious of him. Like,
At this point, he's done so little, I can't be suspicious of him because he's not really even been a character.
yeah, but until now, you just see him and they're like, your father and brother are dead. He's like, oh, I see. And then please leave me. And then you just hear him go, it worked.
It worked.
Yeah. And then
Why?
Sadeas will come in the room and be like, it was successful. And then he's like, yeah, I knew it would be. I'm smarter than all of you guys.
I knew it would be, you fool. He's that kind of character.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like, my plans always come to fruition, but my father could never see that.
It's always Adolin this and Adolin that. Why don't you become a poet? Like,
Why in God's name are you putting this personality on this poor character?
because he doesn't have one. It's not fair, but
Oh, with Sadeas, he's evil throughout the entire book, but still, you know what? He might be doing it for a good reason. With Renarin, he's fucking evil.
Yeah, he didn't just say, it was a necessity, but I had to do it because I had my own visions. Instead, it was, you fool, you always underestimated me, father.
yep, and that was your downfall.
Yep. I am very curious to see what happens next. I did not like ending here. I didn't like it at all. I took all my willpower not to peek at at least how the next chapter started, to see if it was a fake out that was like, but then something happened and he was able to, survive, or if it was Kaladin stared over Dalinar's dead body. Like, I don't know what the next chapter will start with. So it took all my willpower not to look.
You sneaky.
Sneaky?
Yeah.
I didn't look.
Yeah, but you thought about it.
No, my brain did, not me.
All right. Anything else about this chapter you two want to go over?
Yeah, nothing specific because it's just,
Yeah.
are they, aren't they dead? What's going to happen next?
Will they, won't they? Yeah.
Will they, won't they? I could see it going both ways, I could see it ending in both of their deaths, or I could see it, having some plot turn where they don't. I really am I'm not sure.
Yeah, they did a good job.
That goodbye was very final. Like, it was written to be the final goodbye. So if
Yeah.
he is dead, I think it would be satisfying narratively, but at the same time, it was written so well that I almost don't believe it at the same time. And like, to end the chapter here without giving us the answer, of course we're going to be wondering, So this isn't just cope like with Kelsier.
And I will say with splitting up the chapters, so my original plan was last week and this week, because this week's chapters, the total number of pages was a little bit shorter. Last week was a little bit longer. There's originally going to be the last chapter we read last week would be the first chapter we would have read this week. But when I was looking at it, it's like, you know what? It works better to have a split there, so that way you see him use the armor for the first time, and then have a split before this stuff goes on.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, it worked as a much better split. And this week, this always had to be the end chapter.
You sadistic bastard.
Just unfortunately, when I planned out all the chapter splits like a year and a half ago or whenever I did it, I didn't realize that we would end this and then have to take a week off before we're back.
Don't lie.
You
right. Just want to cause us suffering.
I could see the future.
The storms told you to do it.
That's a sin. Shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, that's a sin.
All right. So the title of this chapter was Codes. So why do you believe that was chosen for the chapter title?
Well, because when you live by the code, you're comfortable to die by the code instead of dying like a whiny little bitch.
If you live by the codes and you die by the codes, then it's okay.
What else are you going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
All men must die, so...
It's better to have a code than to, be a codeless loser.
In this situation where there's no hope, very much so.
Mm-hmm.
I sure wouldn't want to live like Sadeas. The codeless bastard, right, Sheta?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe you're starting to rub off on me, old friend. You fucking you little rat, to say that shit. Oh my god! Of all things to say, when you know you're sending your friend into death,
That was pretty cruel. Yeah.
is something where he'll last second be like, "Hey, he was lying to me. It didn't rub off on him at all." Then you die. What an asshole!
No, the part I hate more is when they're overlooking the tower, being like, right before Sadeas leaves. So, Dalinar, are we still on for dinner tonight to go over strategy? Yeah, we should be.
Hey, at least
Oh,
that one's
yeah,
just him trying to
sure.
trick him, you know? Do you suspect I'm going to betray you? No?
And I like the whole scene with just Kaladin looking at it, being like, my god, this is like one of the biggest betrayals ever. This makes
Yes, it is.
Amaram look like nothing. Amaram killed 4 of Kaladin's men. Sadeas is killing 8,000. All right. Well, let's go over to the theories and predictions segment. So, as typical, when it gets towards the end of the book, I don't want to ask too many, like, overall questions. So I'm just going to ask one question, which, who do you think Moash wants to kill? Do you think it's somebody we've met or somebody that we've never met in the story?
Hmm. I think it'd be interesting if it was like Hoyt or something.
Void.
Yeah, that son of a. I'm gonna chase him across the whole Cosmere to kill him.
Yeah,
That
if
would be
he's
pretty
like,
crazy.
I need to track down and kill the Lord Ruler. My name is Kelsier.
Oh my
That would
god.
be quite an ending.
Yeah, like this guy's pretty good at fighting. Like
So the pits of Hathsin are just Roshar?
No, that already happened.
crossover.
And then he wound up falling into another world and he just gave up until he learned hope and a hatred of elites from Kaladin. And then he traveled back. There is my jump the shark theory of the day.
That's a good one.
I think it's somebody we have not seen personally.
What if it ends up being Amaran too, and then like Kaladin and him both like go kill him? I think it would be cool if it was somebody. I think there's a lot of weird coincidences in this bridge team already. Just with Hoyd's apprentice being in here is pretty weird.
Mm-hmm. Like you think there's a touch of destiny in this?
Mm-hmm. And we also have a armor maker in there, and like a old fighter who can help Kaladin train the guys. Like
That
lot
I
of
could
stuff.
completely believe. And it's such bullshit when you do supernatural elements and you can explain away what would be like cheesy writing with, oh, the Force said it needs to be that way. I always think that's funny. I couldn't call that contrived at all because Destiny wanted it to happen, not
Yeah.
the writer.
You write it in there as part of the
Mhm.
system. Yeah. Hard magic my ass. Just kidding.
How does that make it not? If anything,
Because
Destiny would be more hard magic because even the world and characters have hard rules to them.
hard magic is just soft magic with more details. It's all just like, we're just playing.
That's like saying Moby Dick is just Dr. Seuss with more steps.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Big whale, little whale.
Yeah. Big fish, little fish. What's the difference? It's all
Exactly.
just made up shit. None of it's real. Like by
It's
that
all
logic,
a book,
why would you
right?
even read a book, Sheta?
Yeah, it's just a
Like,
different
how could
level.
you enjoy reading?
I enjoy both, so it's fine. It's the same.
All right. And then, yeah, that's the only question I was going to ask because I don't want to ask too many questions that may lead you about what could happen next. So I'll just leave it open. Throw out whatever predictions you want to throw out.
Hey, Sheta, this is going to shock you, but I don't actually think Sadeas is evil.
Wow.
I think that he genuinely wants to work with Alucard, or not Alucard, Dalinar, liked working with him, was genuinely being influenced somewhat by his stuff. But I think that his relationship with God fucking damn it, Yasna's mom, I think that it has driven the king towards paranoia, and Elhokar ordered Sadeas to betray him and leave him for dead.
Wow.
Because
That's pretty big.
I think he's very paranoid. He's done almost fucking nothing in this book, despite being built up so much. I really think Sadeas was ordered to, and because Sadeas does not have honor in the same way, he finds himself, he's forced to, or he's going to get killed one day, you know.
What? So why did he say that, like, your honor would kill you in the end, old friend? Like, what was
That's
that
exactly
then?
what I'm talking about. Sadeas does not have honor, you know. He's not going to risk his own life and his own army and his prestige to go against what Elhokar is saying and do some kind of coup with Dalinar, you know. He doesn't want to rock the boat like that. So if he's ordered to lead Dalinar's forces into death because Elhokar is paranoid that his army is conspiring against him, you know, then he would do as he's told. That's my theory. That doesn't make sense with that line to you?
It could.
It could? How does it not?
It could. Yeah,
Did
I'm
I
not.
not just have you incredulously say that that didn't make sense?
Yeah, but it also could.
What? It can't be both.
Yeah,
It
again.
either makes sense and you're like, oh, maybe. I
I
don't
think it
agree,
was.
but maybe. Or it's, what? Then why did he say that? It cannot be both.
I think that was a little more personal than just like an orders. You know.
Hmm?
I think
The honor line?
yeah, that I think that was a little more his personal thoughts about Dalinar, and not like he's following orders from
That
Elhokar.
is
You
his
know.
personal thoughts about him. That's exactly correct. You know, he's like, you're a fool to follow that because the world isn't that way, you know?
I think it's pretty extreme of the king to do that to his uncle and his
Yes,
cousin.
I agree. I think the king is insane. I've thought that since very early in the book. I think his paranoia is way worse than anyone's giving it credit for, you know. When his own mom is saying he's a fool, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, he's paranoid, you know. I think you should listen. I think she knows better than anyone, you know.
I know my kid. He sucks.
Yeah. I feel very strongly about this theory.
I think that they just started dating like 2 days ago, and this was a really long laid plan. So that's
This
why I
was
don't
a
think.
last second plan.
Oh, you think it's a last second plan?
Yeah, Sadeas said, you remember you said we could trap them. Let's do that now. That's what just happened, you know. Like you
I
said, we were
see.
waiting for an opportunity. What better opportunity is there than this?
Okay.
Yeah, this was all really last minute. Otherwise, what role does Elhokar have in the story? Why was he even a character, you know?
Yeah, that would be a pretty big deal.
Maybe trust Sadeas means trust Sadeas after this. I do also think that Kaladin is going to have some role in saving Dalinar. I think he's going to crack and just do it, and then going to get absorbed into Dalinar's army, whatever remains of it, and then we're going to have an exact opposite of unite them happen, and Dalinar is going to have to go to war against his own king.
Well, I kind of said all my theories about.
What were your with the vision thing? Those were real theories. Those weren't just cope.
Yeah, like those are just my thoughts about Sadeas' betrayal and stuff. We don't have enough information yet.
Okay, so your comment of mine saying something was too personal. How does that work with your own theory?
He's following his personal beliefs, but that is part of God's plan, is what it is.
Oh, so you don't think there was a vision?
No, it could still be a vision of him betraying Dalinar. You know, like, yes, do that.
Can you just lay out your theory, Sheta, in a concise way? I would love to
Okay.
hear it.
All right.
I'm lost and I want to not be lost.
So I've said this kind of before a little bit, where there's a lot of pieces playing. We have the mysterious guy who's controlling Zeph and killing all the kings. We have like the princes are doing their thing, and Dalinar getting visions, Yasna, you know, just these pieces. And I think that every character they're all playing their part in being pushed by forces to be in the right places for things to happen. And one of those pieces, you know, this is kind of like the ruin and not ruin thing, like where they are opponents and stuff, but
Preservation.
yes, preservation, where he is Sadeas doing what he would do is going to then open up a move for Dalinar and Kaladin to step up and meet and become stronger. So that's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, but in that context, isn't he still evil?
Yeah, he's just doing him, you know?
Yeah, but you're defending him. Just doing
I'm not
you
I'm,
is not
I'm not defending him. I'm saying he's doing exactly what he should be doing and stuff. He's just
okay. So
playing his
what's
part.
so you're just saying you believe there's a force that is trying to get Kaladin and Dalinar to team up?
Hmm.
Why? Why so
Because
much for so little?
that's how they will bring everyone together, you know? Maybe dark eyes, light eyes, like a bigger purpose than this war and a bigger purpose, you know, just kind of break out of that. And Sadeas actually is just a small part of what's happening to them, you know? Because what kind of extreme would make Kaladin a light eyes hater, like risk his life and fly over to save Dalinar, you know? Like,
Yeah, but why do you attribute that to an actual divine or behind the scenes thing instead of just like that's the book, the writing?
just only in the same way as that God has a purpose for everyone, even bad guys, you know?
Okay, but okay, you keep saying God has a purpose, but people have free will, right?
This is
So
getting too much.
if people have free will, God does not have a purpose for bad guys. God may see what's going to happen ahead of time, but there'd be no free will if humans are just destined to, kill 8,000 people, and that's part of God's plan. By my understanding of God's plan, it's more like if you do what you are meant to do in the holy way, you will in the end join God's kingdom, though we don't know what God is in this world. So I just don't follow this God has a plan and that makes it okay for Sadeas to be evil thing. Like
Just we'll have a talk in private and I will tell you the good news, okay?
oh no. Because by that logic, Stalin killed how many people, right? Does he get to go to heaven after that because it led to
No.
something positive?
God works his like in his ways through people is how it is, you know? Like if you have someone who is mean to you, maybe God is teaching you to be kind
God,
or something.
there's free will.
This is useless. I feel like this is not important.
You are infuriating me so much. All right, let's get away from the biblical argument here. I don't know enough about the religion of this world to make that argument.
Yeah, and I'm just basing it off of.
Okay, no. Okay, so you used Ruin as an example, right?
Mhm.
Ruin is whispering in people's ears to influence them towards evil. He's the devil, right?
Mhm.
Preservation is whispering in people's ears and pushing events to help them to make good in the end, right? You've got two opposing forces, The entire
Mhm.
crux of your argument is that Sadeas is not evil. He is part of a greater, better
I never
plan.
said he wasn't evil.
Yes,
I
you
just
Okay, so all you're trying to say is there's opposing forces at work trying to move people into positions to do this or that.
yeah.
I cannot argue or agree because there's no evidence. There's definitely something happening behind the scenes with all the whispers and the post-death stuff, but
Yeah. Sorry, you're getting too worked up with something I didn't really think about.
what? You didn't think of it? Why are you shooting? I wouldn't do that if when I said, wait, what about this? You said, oh, I didn't really think that far. I would just be like, oh, okay, that's a cool idea.
I was just answering your questions. Sorry.
Making shit up. Do you live to vex me on this podcast? Is that why I
I do
exist?
get a lot of
Vexed
joy
by
from
you?
it.
Yeah, apparently so.
All right. Any other theories or anything?
Nope.
I like your storm theory. I actually believe that one. Or
Yeah.
maybe they'll because the crab's still alive, right? Maybe they'll learn how to control it with the superpower stuff, like to control the gem inside of it.
The crab?
Yeah, because they got the big gem thing inside of it. Maybe Kaladin will learn how to reach out and touch that, and then the crab can help him in the war.
He's gonna ride the crab?
That would be badass, but I just thought it would attack. I'm just trying to think of ways that even half this army could survive this
Whoa.
thing, and you'd need something besides just them dynasty warrioring their way through it. So either some control of the storm or awakening shard plate in the entire army. That would be the other one. Or controlling a crab. Otherwise, I think everyone's dead.
Yeah. The stakes are put pretty high. Like like things are gonna be really bad. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that would really be the time for something really great to happen, like
Mm-hmm.
as powerful to fight that.
All right. Well, let's move over to our characters of the week.
I swear to God, Sheta, if you say a character whose name starts with S.
Why? Because he pulled off the biggest like backstab of all time.
You know, Justin, I was trying to think of other S name characters, but Syl doesn't appear and Sigil doesn't appear, so
Yep.
What about guy who got his foot stabbed?
Scar. Yeah.
Scar, yeah, there you
Scar.
go.
Damn it, you got me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pick Scar. I will pick Sadeas for doing that because I think
What is wrong with you?
he really got everybody. Like
Yeah,
like it went so smoothly. So I won't pick him.
we'll see. Well, I'll pick Dalinar, same as before, for slaughtering a bunch of people in badass ways and finding horror at what he's done, as well as finding the last piece of why he should be following these codes and giving a badass speech to everyone while also giving a farewell to his son in his head as he rushes towards death. That's too much badass in one chapter.
And yeah, I will also go with Dalinar for pretty much everything Justin said there. It's hard for me to go against him just for being so damn cool in that whole segment. All right, now let's go over to quotes.
Sometimes when we do our quotes, I think they're like, let's all pick our favorite verse this week and read it to everybody. With all the religious stuff, it feels like that.
Okay. This is when Dalinar's talking to Navani, and she says, "You are not a weak man, Dalivar." And he replies, "I am, but weakness can imitate strength if bound properly, just as cowardice can imitate heroism if given nowhere to flee." I thought that was a pretty cool way to describe that. I like the cowardice one especially because if you're backed into a corner, you will do something absolutely crazy just out of fear of death. And I like that, I think most of us have probably had something we're really bad at in ourselves that because we're so bad at it, if we work at it, we actually become very good at it in a way better than somebody who's just, normally good at it because you're so aware of how easy it is to suck at that thing. So I like that a lot.
Mine's also a Dalinar quote, but much later. So Dalinar turned to the soldiers around them. "It's time for us to fight," he said, voice growing louder. "And we do so not because we seek the glory of men, but because other options are worse. We follow the codes not because they bring gain, but because we loathe the people we would otherwise become. We stand here on this battlefield alone because of who we are." That we kind of talked about that before, but just the idea of fighting for something beyond all the values that like their culture would have, like gains, glory and riches, I guess, and power, but just like for the sake of something less substantial, like you're in yourself. So I thought that was kind of Dalinar becoming and kind of standing up for what he's been fighting for this whole time with the codes and with the kind of man he's been wanting to be and trying to be. And I think having his son kind of back him up in that moment, but right before, he really became himself in this part.
That was a badass quote, and I knew you were going to pick it. That's why I didn't pick it.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I just knew for a fact you were picking it.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, and then technically Sheta took mine, so I'm going with a backup. Mine's just with Kaladin witnessing everything. And then Kaladin saw it. Dalinar Kholin's force, fighting on the upper middle slope of the wedge, was now surrounded. This new Parshendi force was flooding into sections that Sadeas had held, supposedly protecting Dalinar's retreat. "They're abandoning him," Kaladin said. "This was a trap, a setup. Sadeas is leaving High Prince Kholin and all of his soldiers to die." Kaladin scrambled around the edge of the bridge, pushing through the soldiers who were coming off it. Moash cursed and followed. Kaladin wasn't certain why he elbowed his way up to the next bridge, Bridge 10, where Sadeas was crossing. Perhaps he needs to see for certain that Sadeas wasn't wounded. Perhaps he was still stunned. This was treachery on a grand scale, terrible enough that it made Amaran's betrayal of Kaladin seem almost trivial. Sadeas trotted his horse across the bridge, the wood clattering. He was accompanied by 2 light-eyed men in regular armor, and all 3 had their helms under their arms as if they were on parade. I just like seeing the whole betrayal and stuff, seeing it from Kaladin's point of view, because, to be honest, Kaladin doesn't really have a horse, in the race. He's just a bridgeman, but even he is seeing this whole betrayal from Sadeas, and he's just knows, like, this is wrong. And there's nothing he can do about it either.
I'll see.
Now we'll just go to a couple comments that we have. These are all from our Way of Kings chapters 57 through 58 episode. First from Krinko Shade 4814. What? I was listening to a bunch of nerds the whole time? Well, nothing to do now but to continue.
Gotcha.
J. Ramirez 34. If I had time, I put together a spreadsheet of the predictions here because there were quite a few that were almost exactly how things happen. Some more that are close enough, and of course, some wildly wrong predictions. I didn't tally anything up, but I think Sheta would win if we scored the predictions.
She does tend to compare, based on last book or previous books. Something about that batshit insanity seems to be pretty good at that.
Me and Brandon are on the same wavelength. That's all.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it sometimes, because sometimes, one of you two, you're like 100% correct. Sometimes you're 90% of the way there. It's like you're so close, but you're just missing part of it. Sometimes you're just way off base. It's like, nope, that's completely wrong. There are times when, like, Justin has half of it, Sheta has half, so if you combine the theory, it'd be 100% correct.
Yes.
And
I would never combine theories with Sheta. She's insane.
You do that all the time. You steal my theories
Insane.
sometimes. And you're like, oh yeah, and then you run with it.
And no, you are Zane in this situation, and I will never listen to you.
And I think the funniest times are when you get there, you get the theory correct. You're correct at the end point. Your reasoning to get there was wildly wrong. It's like, well, because of A, B, and C, this is what happened. Well, that happened, but not because of the reasons you said. And then there was +9775. This was a response to J. Ramirez's comment. Last episode was a banger. Hit the nail on the head to an extent.
Interesting. Curious to see that.
Is that a Marsh joke? Sorry.
Jeez, that got dark.
And then from Reader Warrior, a quote, I think Sheta said, "If I had friends, I'd do that. Hey, get your own model. I've had dibs on this one for years." Chapter 57. Windrunner. We've heard that before.
Have we?
Oh, that was Kite Runner. I'm sorry.
Let me look at my notes. I remember that time. When were the times that...
Didn't Max Mercury go by Windrunner once? That's what popped into my head.
You'd know.
Okay, so we have... So looking at times, so this was Interlude 3. It was a Zeth interlude. And here's the thing, it's this is where Zeth was in the bar and just sitting there and glad he didn't have to do stuff, and he wonders what these men would say if they knew he was a Sargebert. He wonders what these men would say if they knew he was a Shardbearer and a Surgebinder, that he was a Windrunner like the Radiants of old. But they don't discover it, and every day he does mundane stuff instead of killing as a win for Zeth. And then the next time was during Dalinar's vision, where all those, Radiants showed up and, like, dropped all their armor and the swords and everything, and one person, it was a scout, was saying that it's the Order of Stone Wards and a large number of Windrunners. And the third time was the one we were talking about here with Syl asks why. She talks about stories of men who walked on walls and who bound the storms to them, Windrunners.
I hate those kind of terms that I don't know what they mean, but they keep popping up.
You don't think they're fun?
I don't think anything of them yet because I don't know what that means.
No. For the one person interested, I double checked, and yes, Mercury did go by Windrunner once.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So the one person who was very invested in that side plot, you have your answer.
Now, how many people listening know who Max Mercury is?
At least one. I guarantee
Okay.
one will.
What was his powers, or did he just go by that?
He's a speedster. He's gone by a lot of names, and they've integrated like other characters in as characters he was.
Oh, okay.
Let's continue the comment. Love the Black Piper's story. If Hoyd is the Cosmere's conscience, I fear for everything.
I don't know
Seems
enough
pretty-
about the guy to know that or to judge.
He seems on the level though, and he's not evil, I think.
And then chapter 58. To bigots like Sadeas, the only honor lesser people have, be it Dark Eye, Slave, Scot, etc., is if they serve their betters in totality. I highly doubt he has this reason and stops there because thinking about it further makes it squeamish, because that is his mindset when it comes to Dark Eyes. However, does that not mean he cannot grow a midget of empathy or realize what equality is?
Thaddeus, I don't think equality serves his purpose. I don't think it's that he, is specifically racist. I think that being racist really benefits him, so he really wouldn't change it. That's my take on the guy.
And then next one was, so you think the Spiral Heads were following Taravangian and not Shallan? If I remember correctly, I think one of you said that they were like following death or something like that, and you were saying that
That's
Taravangian
cool.
was going to die.
Whoever said that is cool. Sounds like you, Sheta. Actually, it sounds like me. I don't know who said
No, it's me. You jumped
It's
on
you?
it again.
What'd you
Yeah.
say?
Yeah, you probably didn't even remember who Taravangian was.
Yeah, I know who Taravangian is. What did you say, Sheta?
Just that they were following him around.
So you think they're following him and not Shallan?
Yeah, because he's the one on the list. Of the death list.
Oh, they have a death list now?
Well,
But they did follow her.
Zeph's death
They
list.
followed her to her room.
I didn't think they followed her. I think they just are all around, But specifically when she was drawing him, the king, they were like hovering
Now I
around him.
remember. Yeah, now I remember when you said that.
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody said that.
Oh my god.
You gaslight me so much on this podcast. I don't know what to believe, Sheta.
You guessed yourself.
Maybe sometimes.
Yeah.
But not all the time. That's for sure.
All right. And then from our theory segment, if you need to bind Spren to get radiant powers, where is Zeth's Spren?
In the rock, probably.
Well, aren't they in the where you get the Stormlight from? Like whatever you're drawing in for that?
What is he called? Death Winner or what?
Death Winner.
What his curse that he's under? What is that called, Joe?
Well, he's truthless.
Yeah, truthless. I keep thinking it's toothless.
Like the dragon?
Yeah, like the dragon.
That's stupid.
He's got big eyes like toothless. Anyway, what were we saying about him? Oh, his spren, comes from his binding stone that binds him to his contract. And maybe like truthless means your soul was replaced with a spren. That would be pretty crazy.
Your soul was replaced by a Spren?
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that Kaladin has no soul?
Maybe. It's not no soul. It's just a different soul, like a superhero soul.
You
Because
can't
now
replace your soul and be the same person.
Why not?
Because
You
that's your soul. That's you beyond your corporeal form.
Depends on how
If
they
you replace
define
your
souls.
soul, you wouldn't be the same person.
And I think that's not true because when Syl changes and she becomes not stupid, like she says, I think that's
She's still
similar.
the same entity.
Mm-hmm. Same thing. I think Spren
You just said he replaced his soul with a Spren.
Yeah.
Not his soul turned into a Spren. He replaced it with a Spren.
That's more accurate. Yeah, it would turn into a Spren.
Okay, that's very different.
Yeah. In my head, it was something more like that and not replaced because that is creepy. Yeah.
That's really creepy. That's some blood magic shit.
Yeah, no,
That's
it's a
some
nice
Voldemort shit there. No, thank you.
Yeah. It's more nice than that. You just like evolved like a Pokemon.
All right, next part. You think Ruin was telling Vin not to talk with Hoyt in Hero of Ages? I personally just think it speaks more to Vin that she, the ultimate character of instinct, was able to tell that he was dangerous and magically powerful, and that she left because of that.
No, I stand by my interpretation of that. I really, really do. However, I don't know what his Hoyt's grand goal is, so I don't know if it's something that specifically goes against what Ruin would want.
Yeah, we
But
don't
I
know
stand by
Hoyd.
that. I stand by that completely. Because, you know, I don't care how much instinct you got. You don't get this vibe that this, like, guy is, like, dangerous to the entire narrative. That's
a
pretty
whole
heavy.
other instinct, yeah.
Yeah,
Unless you got like
that's
meta instinct,
yeah,
you wouldn't know.
metatextual instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah, just I don't feel like that's right.
Vin is powerful, but I don't know if she's that powerful. Sazed maybe at the end. But
Yeah, what's your god? That's different.
yeah.
Do you think Zeth would go against his Oathstone then?
He can't.
Because I think this was a part where you're saying like Zeth and Dalinar would meet, and then Zeth would like help them out or something like.
No. He would be able to without someone rescuing his Oathstone. Unless he'll be like Dobby, where he'll do it but have to punish
You said
himself.
that last time. You said that.
Yeah?
That's
Yeah.
exactly what you said. I think that's what's being referenced.
I see. Yeah. Then yes. I really want that to happen now.
Last one's from the comments segment was he had mentioned like the Black Piper and music, and we didn't know what that was. So he says, "The Black Piper is a fan-made album / artist that's named after this death quote. They've done some awesome music."
Mm.
Okay.
Yep. So that's all our comments and everything. If anybody wants to be included in this segment, send us an email, cosmicchronicles@gmail.com. Leave a comment on, Spotify or YouTube, something like that. You can join in on the fun.
Fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
So now, looking forward to the next episode. We'll be reading 3 more chapters, chapters 67 through 69.
69.
Really?
Really?
You know what I just realized? The last chapter we read this week, Codes, where it's like Sadeas betraying Dalinar everything. That was chapter 66. Kind of like Order 66.
Oh my gosh.
Then we know what's going to happen in chapter 69. Navani has finally returned from the death. Okay, I'm done.
Was that Gavilar coming back?
No. That was Dalinar.
Oh.
I got back from the war, baby. It's time to do what I've wanted for years.
He'd be like, I've crossed the line to get here. I'm not going back.
Crossed the line. Oh, Dalinar, you read my mind. And we do not fade to black. We see all of it.
It turns into a different book after that.
Yep.
Brandon's going into the, that field. Young
Romantasy.
Yeah. He's got to compete with all those popular fairy books.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I've got fairies in my book, he says.
He's abandoned his faith and his beliefs in human indignity to compete with random fairy books.
Uh-huh.
For a very different audience. Yep.
And his first thing is 2 older people in their 50s getting 69ing.
In chapter 69. Yep.
I don't think that will be popular. The same group.
Does it count as him leaving and doing that when this book came out in 2010?
He was ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
He began it.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll be done with all this
I hate all
nonsense. In fact, Justin started it.
No.
It was Justin.
That's not true.
You're the one that said 69.
Sheta, you're a freak. Move on.
Wow, you can't dump all of that on me.
Yeah, that was Justin. All right, but so that's what we have. As I said, unfortunately, no new episode next week. If you're binging the show in 2028, congrats. You can just listen to the next one. You don't have to wait.
No, you don't know that. For all you know, we're all dead in 2 days.
Whoa.
Please, don't jinx us like that, man. Knock on wood.
All right, yeah.
Imagine that guy in 2028.
Shut up.
Living in like a post-apocalyptic world. This has been his only broadcast he can receive. And then it just ends. How disappointed he'll be.
All right, but so everyone, just yeah, like I said, read the chapters, and afterwards, yeah, do what you want. What
Ooh,
time
did you
of
bake
year is
that
it?
pie?
It's
Yeah. Tell us how your pie turned out, please.
well, Justin, that's what they were supposed to do last week. They're supposed to send us their picture of their pies.
And did anyone send us a picture? I don't think so.
I don't know. That episode came out like 12 hours ago.
Oh, never
So,
mind then. I'm expecting some delicious pies.
yep. Otherwise, speaking of food, okay, after you read our chapters, go and either read or watch Food Wars. It's a show about cooking, manga about cooking. There you go.
Yes, you'll learn a lot about cooking in that show. That's for sure.
The back of every single volume has recipes for what they made in the volume.
Do they have the same effects as they do in the show?
Probably.
All right, then let's hear it. Let's eat some.
Yeah, so yeah, there's your mission, everyone, if you choose to accept it. Read or watch Food Wars. It's good. All right. Yeah, that's it, everyone. Until next time, bye-bye.
Sayonara.
Ta-ta.